What's up, everybody? It's producer Kyle. How's it going? Uh, so we're testing out. I'm testing out a new thing on StreamYard that is the real reason I went live. But I have a box here that I got just recently, and it's new product that I'm going to process and get ready for future live sales. So say hi when you get here. Chat with me while I work on this new product. I'm going to give you guys a look at what I'm going to have on some future live sales, and then we will we'll talk about kind of what they're going to cost and things like that. So just kind of a hangout. We're getting ready for Comic Industry Insiders live in about an hour and 15 minutes. So definitely the show won't be that long. But we'll see how it goes. So yeah, chat in the chat if you get here. We're gonna get started on some of these books are already priced, and I love that. But I am going to scan them my own self and make sure that the prices are what I want them to be. And start putting together a little bit of a database of what they are. So, what I'm using is Overstreet Access. I'm scanning the book. So this is The Batman Who Laughs, The Grim Knight #1 blank cover. MSRP on it was $4.99. The price that it was marked at is $5. And that is the price it's going to stay. Perfect. I think that's probably going to be true for most of these blanks. Like I have Dawn of DC Premiere #1 blank. I have several copies of that. I got 3 copies of that. Four copies of that. Another copy of Grim Knight. The Lone Ranger. All right, that's a new one. So that's one that's not priced. So I've got to look this one up. But I'm guessing it's going to be $3 to $5. But that's why we process new collections when we get them in, right? Just to see what they're going for, to see what is what in terms of those costs, in terms of those prices, how we can offer them to you as the consumer. What up, Skunk Snot over on Instagram? Say hi when you get here over on anywhere else. And we'll have a conversation. We'll talk about stuff. The Lone Ranger #1. Oh, that's number 13. Okay. So I have to look this book up individually because it wouldn't scan, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But let's see if we have a variant. We do. So the valuation on that book, $3. So what you guys may not know on my books when I do live sales, the reason I always seem like I know everything is because I do. No, I'm kidding. Is because what I do is I write notes on the back of the book. You've probably seen if you've gotten anything from me. I write notes in Sharpie on the back of the bagging board so that I can be like, hey, this is the such and such issue, and it goes for this much. So that is why I do things the way I do this. So one of the other things we're looking for, guys, as we process this collection, as we process this product, is I am going to start commissioning CCAs, which here on the experience, if you don't know, a CCA is commission cover art. So I'm going to have artist friends draw covers on some of these books. So I'm trying to pick out which of these books I should take to convention this weekend and have someone draw CCAs on. So that is part of the process that I am doing now. Looking this stuff up, figuring out. But again, the real reason I'm live, I'm just gonna be straight with you, is we got some new tech here in StreamYard that I want to test out before we go live in about an hour. So again, if you guys could comment, that would actually be most helpful. Even if you're just saying hey or making a joke or something to that effect, it would go a long way to helping me test the new tech. So I've got blue and red blanks of Project Superpowers from Dynamite. Those are super fun. I like the colored blanks like this because it lets the artist do something different and they don't have to add color to it. So they could just work in black and white, maybe a little bit of shadow, and the white or the red cover or the blue cover does the rest of the work. Okay, submit. So that's kind of the game we're playing right now. So I need to now look up Project Super Powers. I don't know which year this one is though. Nikki, why do you have to do so many Project Superpowers books? Makes it hard. Leonard, make for an atmospheric piece. Sweet. Are you guys seeing the comment like here? That's the new tech we're testing. So I want to see people comment from the different platforms. I also think this is going to be very helpful when we do live sales. So it'll be interesting to see how that works and what that looks like for everybody. Project Future Powers Fractured States. Here we go. Issue 1, variants. Okay, so these are not listed as variants on this book, but I'm just going to price it what the white variant would be. So cool. These are done. These are going to be $3 each. Fantastic. Now here's one that's always a challenge for me, because when I get books from Dynamite and Dynamic Forces, what I like to do is I don't like to put anything on the DF seal with a COA, so I almost always put them in a secondary bag and board. Problem is, my secondary bags and boards are over there, so I'm gonna go get them. I'm gonna leave you guys here for a second, and I'm gonna go get those books, and I'm gonna figure out why my Wi-Fi is acting so atrocious. Maybe I'll check the Wi-Fi first. Okay. I'm gonna go get those bags and boards. Okay. I'm back. Now, let's see here. Network. Stick with me, everybody. Let's see if that fixes it. See if that deals with my slow Wi-Fi problem. Weird internet. Nope, that seems to have made it worse. Stick with me, stream. Let's see if that gets any better. Okay. Chastity number 1 blank. All right. So can't even see that, can you? Maybe I need to power cycle my internet. Okay. This is the thing about these Hangouts, guys, is that I never really know what's going to happen when I do them. So I'm going to give my internet just a second to figure itself out. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to power cycle my whole internet here. But we're going to keep working here. So this is the Jenny Frison Okay. So I have Red Sonja 13 high-end Virgin Art variant by Jenny Frison. It's with the DF seal and COA. So I put it in an extra bagging board so the seal and COA are behind it, so that when I make my notes, I'm not making them on that book. All right. So while I write these, I'm going to power cycle my internet. Stick with me here, guys. Let me see. Do I have something I can play? Stick with me. I will be back after these quick commercial breaks.
FOC, a comic industry term for the final day a new comic can be ordered by a local comic shop. So what does that mean to you? Well, it's your last chance to order a new comic book from your local comic shop. Order up! The FOC show will go over every book that's about to be cut off every Friday afternoon.
I'm going to highlight some of the stuff that I think is really worth paying attention to,
so that you can put in an order at your LCS for as many copies or as many variant covers as you want.
Sometimes the store needs to know to up their orders.
Never miss out on a popular comic again. Order up, part of the experience.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
Boring old Tuesday.
Kick it! Anyway, let's get to it.
Henri Copen scours collections and comic shops to bring you the biggest deals on beautiful comics.
I'm very eager to sell these books.
Plus, he smashes those other boring sales shows. Henri's got fire, excitement, personality, key books, Momo books,
Pixie! Momo books for ya.
a cute dog, weird accents.
69, bro!
Oh, Wheel of Skidmark?
They do wheel spins at the end of every show.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll score huge bargains.
That is Haktua magic right there, all right?
Kicking it with Henri, Tuesday nights, part of the experience.
Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too. Helps if I put myself back on screen, doesn't it? Thanks for sticking with me, guys. Hopefully we fixed some of the internet issues here that I was having. There is some pretty harsh weather outside. So hopefully that will be good now and be able to finish the stream. I'm going to put a hat on though. My head is very shiny. And I'm going to get my head shaved later. So anyway, now that we're back, I am pricing and working on new inventory that will be on my live sales coming up in the future. So like this one is, again, it has a Dynamic Forces COA and little sticker. So I put them in a separate bag and board. This is yep, that's the book. Okay, Red Sonja number 14. If you comment, I want to see them pop up down here. So if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch, throw a comment in the chat so we can see how this little thing works. The show comments on stage thing. It's interesting that Overstreet Access doesn't list the Virgin variants, but they list the other covers, the other variants. So this is a little more complicated in terms of coming up with a price. So we're just going to see how it goes. But like I said, I take a book that has this on the back and just put it in a regular bag and board like this, a little bit bigger bag and board, so it's good and safe. And then I make my note on the back of what it is, how much I'm going to offer it for, those kind of things. And so because this is the Jenny Frison cover, it's the Modern Icon variant. So I'll write on the back, Red Sonja, Volume 2, number 14, Jenny Frison, and this is a Virgin, Modern Icon, what did they call this? High end. One of 50. And so now I'll price it at what I think a fair price would be based on what the valuation of the book is on Overstreet Access. So again, the Overstreet Access says it's $10 for the regular. Because this is a 1 in 50 Virgin, we're going to go with $20. All right. And since I have 2 of those, I'll put the same note on a second book now. And so that way, no matter which one I show or who buys them, they have the same notes that I have. When I first started doing live sales, I was struggling because I didn't have good notes about what I was selling. I knew the product, but I didn't have notes. And I bought a book from a guy who had done his notes like this on the back of his book. And so I just adopted doing it this way. So it works really well for me. I've also done where I type it all up in like an Excel document and print off stickers for the backs. So you might see some of those. But I find that the Sharpie method works better. High end 1 in 50. So again, like you see, I've got my notes on the back, kind of tell me what the book is and what I'm going to charge and that kind of thing. So again, it's a process of just working through your product when you get new product and figuring out what you're going to charge for it and how it's going to work. Now, I am going to also, I have this big oversized board. I have some books in here that are blanks, and I have some books in here that are not. What else can I stick in there? Because this board isn't going to fit. What do I have laying around? Do I have a tab here? I do. Okay. No, I don't. That's not a tab. I'm going to try. I need to try and find a way to keep the two piles separate. And I don't have scissors or a knife to cut that board down. So I'm just going to take one of my bags and boards and stick it in there. Keep the two piles separate. All right. So let me get the next batch ready. Again, guys, all I'm doing is working through some new product that I'm going to be offering on live sales in the future. Some of it's priced, some of it's not. The stuff that's not, I want to get priced out. And the stuff that is, I just want to get organized a little bit because it's a little unorganized. And then the other thing we were talking about earlier is a lot of these books are blanks. So I'm looking for books that I think would make cool CCAs. I'm going to start commissioning my own CCAs for my live shows. So I want to find cool books that I think will be cool CCAs on my own live shows. So that is one of the things that I'm working on here. So now here we go. I have another Grim Knight, which was one of the first books I got. So I'm going to put it in the pile, try and put them together. And I had to pull the stuff out of the box because I've got a Dawn of DC primer. I've got more of the red Project Superpowers. And again, I want to keep these together as a group as best I can. Because, again, when you're in the middle of a live sale, being able to say, oh, I have 7 of that thing is always super helpful. Justice Inc. the Avenger, Magus Robot Fighter. I think Doodle Jump might make a cool CCA, so I'm going to hold that one out of the inventory. And so now we're going to work on Kiss. So these are Kiss comics and variants. I also have some other stuff in here, but we're going to work on getting the Kiss books priced and ready to go. Since it's not a blank, they go in front of my bag and board that I'm using as a tab. I know. Guys, this is super exciting stuff, isn't it? Like I said, I'm really just testing out that new tech, that new chat feature. So again, drop a comment and I'll see if I could see it right here. Especially if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, drop a comment right there. Before we get ready before we start Comic Industry Insiders in about an hour's time, a little less than an hour's time. So I'm just hanging while we do that, working on this new product, getting it ready to go on future live sales. I mean, I suppose if you wanted to claim stuff now, you could, but again, I wasn't planning on doing a live sale right now, so we don't have, we're like, that's not a thing necessarily. I'm not pushing anything. So, all right, so this is Kiss number 9. Kiss number 9, Kaiju versus Kiss. This is I guess it's technically the Virgin variant. It's the F. And it retails for $5. So again, like I said, I'm showing you guys how I do this. This is Kiss number 9, Kaiju versus Kiss, cover F, Virgin, $5. What up, Mr. Easy Go Lucky? Thank you for coming in and hitting the thumbs up and dropping a comment. That lets me see that YouTube works down here in our new Show Comments on Stage tab, which is super fun. My next step is to see what happens when I have to ban somebody. So that'll be fun too, but I'm not going to ban Mr. Easy Go Lucky or Leonard, the two people who have commented on this book. So this is Kiss number 10D cover. MSRP, $5. So, boom. Right? It is a cool new feature. It just launched today. This is our first live stream with it. So I've got, I'm processing new inventory that's going to go in my live sales. So I thought I'd come on and test it out. It is a cool new feature. I wish it were slightly bigger. I'll be honest. It is a little tiny. But if it looks good out there on YouTube and Facebook land, then I'm good with it. But on my screen, it's a little teeny tiny. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm actually a huge Kiss fan. I have a rather odd Kiss collection, which is things that are signed by Kiss drummers. Because most people don't know how many drummers Kiss has had over the years. It wasn't all that original lineup. Kiss has had several drummers over the years. And I collect things signed by Kiss drummers. So, big Kiss fan. I suppose when you work in rock radio as long as I did, it's hard not to be a Kiss fan. But it is I'll be honest, if I never hear Detroit Rock City again, it might be too soon. Especially because I worked in rock radio in and around Metro Detroit. So, like, that was pretty common that people would get hammered on a Friday night and call and be like, play Detroit Rock City, man. And of course we would, because that was who was listening to the station. But, But like songs like Beth and some of the other maybe deeper cuts on the Kiss, in the Kiss repertoire were more my jam. So, like I said, I'm processing some Kiss comics. Cover D. So, like, these will be on my show coming up soon. Like, this is a Virgin Kiss number 8, cover D. So that'll be fun. You guys out there in Chatland, do you have a favorite Kiss tune? Do you like Kiss? What do we think about Kisco? Disco Kiss? Like, do we have a hatred for that? Because I can understand that if you do. So, like I said earlier in the show, when I was having bad internet, I'm using Overstreet Access, and what I'm doing is I'm scanning the covers of the books and trying to find them that way, because that way is faster rather than typing them in. But sometimes you got to type them in. So, come up here, type in, I'm sure it's $5, but just want to make sure. This is Kiss number 3. Okay, this is not the right volume. The other problem is sometimes you have to kind of sort through a bunch of books. When you have a word like Kiss, there's a lot of books that have the word Kiss in them. So this is Kiss Blood and Stardust. So maybe I'll try adding Blood and Stardust. There we go. So in Overstreet's Access, it kicks out a screen like this, right? When you have to search a title, and you just you pick your volume. So this is obviously volume. This is obviously the volume I want from 2018. You tap on it, and then on the next screen, it gives you your main covers, your A covers. So like this is number 3. That's weird. Okay. So when I don't have information like that, I have to go to another source. Like I said, I think I know what that book is going to go for, but I'm going to set it off to the side and try and get through the rest of this pile before I look that one up. So like here's Blood and Stardust number 1. Again, it says no variants. But this is totally not the cover that's on the internet. So let's look at this second one. That's the trade paperback. So again, this Kiss Blood and Stardust, I'm going to have to do some looking. Mr. Easy Go Lucky, I still have my Kiss magazine from Kiss magazine when I bought it back in the late 70s. I really like their song Beth. Yeah, Beth is a great tune, man. Beth was the first song Peter Criss sang lead on. Maybe the only song Peter Criss sang lead on. Really a great love song. But I have several signed Kiss tour books, several signed programs, signed ticket stubs. Never actually seen Kiss, but I have a bunch of signed, like again, ticket stubs, programs, things like that. All right. All right, I'm going to set the Kiss Blood and Stardust stuff off to the side because I need to look it up later, but that's going to take more time than I really want to spend right this second while I'm live with y'all. So I'm just going to move on to the next book, which is Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Echoes. Grab the next batch of books and pull them out. Keep the file growing. Okay. So now, search. Come on. Tom Clancy. Splinter Cells Echoes. 4 issues. This is the book. Go. Number 4. This is the A cover. All right. See if there's anything worth noting. Just that this is a Nathan Edmondson script. Yeah, I saw that. Mr. Easy Go Lucky. Mr. Easy Go Lucky. I'm gonna try something here. Boom. The Kiss Destroyer original art by Ken Kelly went for $250K on Heritage. Yeah, I saw that, and I saw the Fandango art from ZZ Top on there too. I will say this: the Fandango art from ZZ Top was much more affordable. So I'm just gonna put the price on there of $5 because there's nothing really special about this book other than it's out of print. There's no first appearance. There's no notes really worth putting. But yeah, I'm going to just put the price on the back so that when I go to sell it, I know what to sell it for. All right. Get these put in the box now. All right, so this is Scotty Young that I'm pricing right now. Scotty Young, Princess Leia 1B. That'll be $5 when we sell it. All right. We have another blank. The Joker 80th anniversary. So again, guys, what I'm looking for when I come across blanks is what do I think would make a good CCA? What can I take to convention? put in front of an artist, especially an artist that maybe you guys haven't heard of, and offer it and commission a CCA from them that I can offer on my live sales. So if you see something going, hey, Kyle, I would really like a CCA on of the Joker. Okay. Well, then the Joker is something that I can pull aside and be like, I will take this and find someone to draw me a really wicked Joker on here. If they're the really, guys, I was having a real hard time searching for this. Ironically, because apparently on the Joker, the matters. Who do they think they are? Ohio State? They're like the Joker, like the Ohio State University. By the way, I love Ohio State, go Bucks, but still. That is big annoying. All right. This is, this is signed. Let's see. This is the Boys number 7A, signed by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. Number 2 of 150. With DF sticker and COA. So again, when I get these things in my inventory, because of the way I make my notes, they go in here. They'll go in another bag and board with the notes written on the bag and board. But because they're nice enough to give me the COA that I can copy, I'm going to keep it out for just a second, and then I'm going to price it. Boys number 7, cover A, signed with COA by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. Number 2 of 150. It's a low number, man. So again, we're just going to look it up real fast. See what it goes for. Without the signatures, and then I know what a Garth Ennis signature goes for generally. I know what a Derek Robertson signature goes for generally. Cool. So this is a book that's worth about $10 generally. Now, with Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson being on there, that's going to add some value. Being a low number on a limited run, 1 of 100 or 2 of 150, that's going to increase the value too. So what would be a $10 book, it is a Nick COA, Mr. Easy Go Lucky. A lot of this, I will just say, are things that Nick and his team can't sell for one reason or another. Either, it's a little scratch and dent, or they don't have, for whatever, they don't have a methodology to sell it, but I do. So this is a partnership that we're doing. But anyway, Derek Robertson, Garth Ennis on a $10 book, so we'll call that $50. And then because it's number 2 of 150, I'm going to go with $65. It's probably low, but I'm going to go with it. So, like, I've got a bunch of these Deja Thoris that I'm actually going to have to do several things to, because some of them are inappropriate. But, you know, it's Deja Thoris, so you can guess what's inappropriate about it. I don't show nudity on my shows, as most of the shows won't. So, like, I just have to take care of getting that censored a little bit. But in the meantime, I've got more blanks. So, like, Deja Thoris of Mars, or Deja of Mars, Unbreakable Red Sonja, Rom Space Knight. I don't really think any of those are, like, CCA books for me. But Batman Detective Comics 1027 certainly is. So that will go in the pile of things to get a CCA on. Oh, it definitely is art, Mr. Easy Go Lucky, but the AI and bots that run the internet don't know it. So it becomes a little bit of a problem, right? Like, again, if I were to buy these books, they would get put in my collection just as they are. But because I show them on the internet, I have to deal with censorship from YouTube and Facebook and other platforms going, hey, man, you can't show that stuff. It's why about half the time when I have a virgin cover, I call it a vegan cover. Just because, again, it makes life easier with the really dumb rules of the internet. And they're not dumb. They're put in place to protect children and to protect people. But it does mean that I have to take a small Post-it note. And I'll show you what I do when I censor it. Because I like to have fun with it. So I'll take a small Post-it note and just go do something like... draw like eyes bugging out of a head and the word ooga, you know, that kind of thing. So it's perfectly clear what it is, but it keeps the internet from yelling at me. What up, Kenneth? And then it'll just go like that. So when I hold the book up, you'll see that. Not my rules, but I got to play by them. You know, let's see if I can get rules. We don't need no stinking rules. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't necessarily agree with them, but them's the guidelines, and I understand why they're the guidelines, so I have to work within them. But again, like, it doesn't mean I can't have fun with it, right? Like, so again, I got another one here that I've got to cover up Deja Thoris's bits. So I'll do like something like, yeah, I know. And eventually Rex, but Rex doesn't sell any that are nearly this exposed. Like, this is pretty blatant. Like, well, the stuff Rex sells is a little more covered up. Vampirella, very different than Deja Thoris. So, like, I'll do this one where I'll just cover them up with the number 8,800 or 8,000,085. Like, of course, I'll write it cleaner, but I just wanted to give you an example, right? Like, how do you spell boobs in a in a calculator? 8,085. So, yeah, see, Mr. Easy Go Lucky, those are the kind of comments that YouTube and Facebook don't like because of, you know, their child protections and things like that. So we have to play the game of vegan versus virgin versus covering up certain bits of anatomy in an effort to just stay within the rules. And I mean, Dan, who's in the comments, got us a strike on YouTube that got us off YouTube for a whole week for just having a word in the URL slug of his Kickstarter. So, like, there's, you know, they just have weird rules you have to follow. Right. All right, we're back to Kiss, but this is Amy Chu Kiss. So that's exciting. Another Scotty Young. But YouTube has weird rules, and we just have to play by them, man. It's their world, and we just live in it. Hey, congratulations. I feel like that's been a long time ago. So I'm glad that's finally getting done, Dan. I do like this box now. Okay. I'm glad it's getting done, man. Like, I know you worked hard on the book. I know you've been waiting forever for it to come out, for it to get fulfilled. So I'm happy that worked out for you. All right, guys. I've got about, say, 10 minutes left of hanging out here working on these books before I switch over to get ready for Comic Industry Insiders. That will be, I mean, again, that starts in about 20 minutes from now. So make sure you come and hang out on that show as well. Today they're talking about marketing and the kind of crazy things that are happening in comic book marketing right now. Everything from road trips to blind bags to all of the different gimmicks that people are doing. So that should be a fun show because Adam from Prana is one of the masters of comic book marketing and especially alternative comic book marketing. Number 4, cover C. Cool. So it'll be fun to hear his take on everything that's going around, everything that's going down right now. So make sure you tune in for that show. Again, it starts in about 20 minutes from now. Henri called me and I was like, Henri, come on and hang out. And he didn't come on and hang out. The jerk. That's not even the cover I just scanned. Overstreet Access is getting a little laggy, which it does from time to time because it does ironically use up a fair amount of internet. Like it has a pretty, what's up, Lyle? It has a pretty big draw in terms of data. So sometimes it gets a little laggy. But we're getting there. Variants. So this one's going to take me a minute because it's not loading. All right. We'll move on to a different cover. See if I can get that one pulled up. Like I said, guys, this is just my process for when I'm working new books, when I'm working on a new product. Where I go through and I look up the books, I make my notes about what they are, about what they cost, about what their value is, you know, which variant is which, things like that. So that when I bring them on a sale, I know pretty exactly what it is I'm offering. But see, here's another one that's not listed as a variant of Kiss number 1. So I'm going to have to go back through and try and find it again on a different source or somewhere else. So now we're back to some blanks. So if you guys see a blank in this pile that you're like, Kyle, you should get a CCA on that, let me know. John Carter, Warlord of Mars. Grumpy Cat Garfield seems like a pretty good pickup. More Blue Project Superpowers, All-Star Batman, The Boys, Deadpool, Purgatory. I'm thinking about taking this Black Vampirella, just because I think that would be dope. In fact, I'm gonna. There you go. The Vampirella is going for sure. Need to find the Blue Project Superpowers and slide that one in there. All right. Grab one last pile and flip through it real fast before I run out of time to do the show. Okay. Limited to only 25. What is this? This is Jennifer Blood, number 22, high-end Virgin Art Limited cover. That's cool. Warlord of Mars, more Warlord of Mars. Magus Robot Fighter, Green Hornet, somebody called John Cole. More Jennifer Blood, Old Man Hawkeye blanks. So again, we got a pretty good collection. We're going to keep working through it. I may do another hangout a little bit later. But I have got to dip because I've got to get ready for Comic Industry Insiders Live, which is here in about 15 minutes' time. So, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for testing the new tech, and we will see you all next time.